right, so we're doing a little bonus round. We're going to talk a little bit about the potential of PlayStation VR against Oculus Quest. So, Cole, make your case.
Well, look, I hate to come across like I hate the PSVR too. I don't hate it. I love that was my entry to VR. My entry to VR was PlayStation VR, and it was good. It was good to great. Actually, at the time, it was unbelievable. But I have seen the light side, the Oculus Quest. It is one of the best pieces of hardware I have ever seen. It is the most value. It packs the most punch. It is unbelievable. If you haven't tried it, please go try it. Anyway, my case is that the PlayStation VR is going to be too expensive. It's definitely not going to hit mainstream. We know that, right? Like you guys agree, this
Probably.
thing's not going to be mainstream.
Yeah.
You're not going to see. You're not going to see video.
I'll wait till I make. I'll wait till I make my case.
No.
So-
Yeah. Go ahead.
You're starting to see. You're starting to see people post. I'm seeing people post on my personal Facebook videos of their aunts and their grandmas and their moms playing Oculus Quest. They're not on PlayStation VR. They're not connected to. When my buddy got a PSVR, I talked him into getting it because it's so compelling. When you play PSVR, you have to have one. Almost everybody that has seen it that I know of that is like able to purchase one has purchased one within like a week of trying it.
Yeah.
So, but then when I went to my buddy's house 4 months later, I said, "Hey, where's your PSVR?" He showed me. I took a picture of this. And I posted it on Reddit, and it went viral on Reddit. It had like 20,000 upvotes. It was a picture of the PSVR in this bundle of cords in the top of his closet next to a Bud Light cowboy hat. It was, it was literally wrapped in cords, like 20 cords. All
That
like
was
a big
the
bundle.
problem with the PSVR.
It was a shit show. Like that's why I sold mine.
And I know that I know that the argument is it's only one cord now, but one cord is still one cord too many.
Okay.
VR.
All right.
I
That's
think
fair.
you're right.
That's fair. Like if we had it exactly how it should be wireless. But we know that's not the case. It needs the cord to draw out the PS5's power.
I agree.
Or else it probably would have cost a lot more.
Oh yeah. For gaming, yeah,
Right.
absolutely. But
that's my thing. If you think of VR as alt space, Horizon, or whatever that thing's called, like all those type of apps, sure, I think the Quest is a better experience. But if we're thinking about this thing from a gaming perspective, what has the metaverse, Mark Zuckerberg, what have they done to show us that they can give us a killer application from a gaming perspective in VR?
Now, I would say,
what studio do they have under their belt that you trust more than Sony Studios? Like when Insomniac commits to making a VR game, when Guerrilla commits to making a VR game, that's different. When you have rumors that Half-Life Alyx is coming to this thing, it's going to be a different level of content that PSVR 2 is going to be able to offer. And that's all I'm arguing.
Sure. Well, I think you're thinking of it from a gamer's perspective when you should be thinking of it from a corporation's perspective. I don't think VR is going to be the next big thing in gaming at first. I think the next step for gaming is basically an upgraded version of what a phone is. Not a phone per se, but a tool to enter social media spaces, network, and have meetings and gather and watch movies. It's a perfect I don't like the metaverse. I don't think the metaverse is a good idea, but I do think that's where it's going is a more social, Facebooky networking technology. It's not going to be a gaming technology first, just like how phones weren't a gaming technology first. I think gaming was a great place to practice VR because it's an obvious choice. It's an obvious place to start. But I think where it's going is ultimately more augmented reality, not in the sense that it is augmenting reality like a Google Glass, but it's augmenting a reality that puts you in it. Whether or not
you're Pokemon Go, you mean?
No, I'm talking about like in the virtual space. Like it is augmenting your reality. This little device augmented my reality. I'm using it in a very literal sense of the two words.
Okay. I think you meant AR, my fault.
Yeah. This thing augmented my reality by giving me access to text my friends at 2 a.m. when I was a teenager. And I'm like, that never existed before. That was crazy. And I think VR is going to do the same thing. I think after they get a good, because I think Cole's right. I think when it comes to, that barrier of entry with the PS5 needing to work with the PSVR, that's too much of a barrier to entry for most people. Facebook's barrier of entry for Facebook was you make a password. That's so easy. And now you've got all your friends in the world connected to you. And
and what you're speaking to is mass appeal, like
Yeah.
completely mass appeal. Like everybody can do it, whether they want to play games, watch a movie, hang out with their friends. Everyone can do this.
Right.
It becomes like when iPads came out, and then now all of a sudden, everyone in your family had an iPad or smartphones, akin to that kind of.
Yeah.
But I do disagree a little bit that I think games have pushed VR to this point. I think games started with VR started
Well,
with games, and
that's
then
what I'm
now-
saying. Yeah.
Now the door is kicked open, and we're getting into this mass appeal area where
I
the
also-
metaverse and
I don't like comparing them to cell phones because cell phones are such a fundamental technology.
I
I
think
don't think
VR,
VR,
I think
is
VR will
is
be.
near the
I agree with
importance
Taylor.
in terms of.
I think it will be though.
I think it will
it's
be.
not yet.
I think it will be when you can put glasses on and you're in a VR universe.
don't.
Not when you have to put the whole thing over your head.
No,
Like, I can't see that in a professional landscape for the vast
Where
majority of
where do you do all your texting? Where do you send emails?
What do you mean?
Where do you do it? Where if you wanted to text someone, where would you do it? On
my
average,
phone.
you're texting your mom. Where would you text your mom from?
Well, it depends. It depends. What do you mean, like location wise?
Yeah, just like would you be sitting in a chair on your
In a
bed?
car, like sometimes
In a
when I'm
car?
sitting at a red light, like when I'm walking around,
Yeah.
like
You're not-
It depends on what I'm doing for the day.
There's no augmented reality in the gaming sense, the Google glasses and whatnot, Pokemon Go. That's not efficient technology. That's not going anywhere. Virtual reality, on the other hand, if you can sit in your office, put on your goggles, and you've got multiple. You work for a company that works nationwide. It's got offices all over the world. You want to have a meeting with every single other team lead on your team. Boom! You slip on those VR headsets. You're working with everyone across the states. That's impressive tech. I do.
Yeah,
think,
I'm not arguing the technology. I'm saying,
Yeah.
how will that be implemented and how long will it take?
It's a-
I think
it's-
we are well beyond 10 years away from something like that.
I think no, I don't think so. I actually think it's coming out a lot faster than I was with you maybe a year ago, but the more and more I've learned about the metaverse and the more and more I've learned about where Facebook wants to go with it, the more I'm like, yeah, this is already here and it's happening faster and faster. They're pushing us
I
towards.
think in certain industries, yes. Like I think like in your industry, for example, yes, that'd make a lot of sense.
let's
But
use
for
your
like my industry, like healthcare, like insurance.
well. Let me actually
No, like,
let me
I
jump
think
in.
a lot of those. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, finish your thought. You're good.
Yeah, like when it comes to what I think in those, like in media, I think I'm not disagreeing with that. I think that would probably be one of the first to take advantage of new technology such as that. I think when it comes to a lot of other industries, I don't think they're ready for that.
Well, I disagree because
Hold
like
on,
yeah, sorry.
I'm jumping on your side too, Taylor, with this. So let's take Thomas's for example. Before we move on, I'm going to take your work for example.
Mhm.
Let's say in the morning, like because you work from home and you do stuff on the phone. Say you put on your headset, you had a team meeting with 12 people in a room,
Yeah.
and you talked about everything, and then say you actually had a desk space and a cubicle, and your advisor or whatever could see like 15 of his people making the calls and stuff, and he could like click on or he could walk over to your desk and hear the exact conversation, and he can monitor you, and then when you get off the phone with that person, like there would be a physical something you could actually physically hang up, I mean on the VR or whatever to do it, and then he could talk to you about it or whatever. They can throw up notes on the board. You could be surrounded by not only this patient's information could pop up, you could have 4 screens over here. It makes your workplace inherently infinite. You
Yeah,
could walk
I'm
around your
not
room.
arguing in terms of that. That is a good idea.
yeah, and
I'm saying, like, for example, my boss is 65 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not happening. She's not, like,
yeah.
there is a digital divide that is real. Like that in some industries, in some parts of the country. Yeah. Like if you live in like,
San Francisco.
yeah, like if you live in San Francisco, New York, so like Atlanta, Like areas like metropolitan areas, absolutely. Do I see widespread implementation in like Missouri, in certain like dead parts of like dead states?
Thomas, I think I
don't
do. I think I do. And the reason for that is because Cole, your generation is that next generation of empowered autocrats. You are coming up strong, and you all know how to use technology because you grew up with it.
Mhm.
That generation that you're talking about, the 80-year-olds who are still in business,
they're about to retire next week, go on Medicare.
They're clutching onto their jobs, but they're going to be forced out pretty soon.
But even like somebody like my mom, who's still like an active worker, like she's in her 50s.
But you don't think
it's like
to come in and onboard
like
her?
she would never, like she hates VR. And she knows what it is. She's been to Universal Studios. She knows what it is. And if you asked her like, oh yeah, we can implement this on our team or not, she's gonna go with not. I think there's a lot of people who are just not willing to adapt it. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I think it'd be great. I think it's a great resource.
But I think it's going to evolve in the same way phones did in the workplace. Smartphones were introduced to the workplace pretty early on as Palm Pilots, and like you just saved your notes, and then they evolved to every single person who works in a sales team or a management team is given one because it's mandatory for the job.
But let's talk about the difference between smartphones and VR though. Like,
but guys,
smartphone is something you hold in your hand and just use. VR, that's an entire experience where you're putting that over your head.
So and think of all the advantages.
Everything else after that in your life ceases until you take off the headset. That's not the same thing with a phone. Like a phone is just something in your hand.
But you have so many advantages to the VR. Like putting it on, change. It's literally like the movie The Matrix. You can load anything into it. You can have your crew of team. Like say you have a team of 10 people, you can load anything into it. You can.
But remember, I said 10 years.
And think about this.
I think 10 years is pretty reasonable.
You know what? Yeah, I'll settle with you on that. Yeah, 10 years.
I'm not saying it's I'm saying within 10 years, like that's a lot. Like I feel like that's being like a little gracious. Like 10 years, I feel is enough time for people to understand what VR is and the technology to be at a point where it's very easy to get into.
Look, my dad was in the car business in the 80s, and everything was done paperwork. One guy, he went to work at a new dealership. They had one computer there. He said within like 2 or 3 years, everything was done on computers. They went from doing everything on paperwork to like 3 years later. And now I don't think it's gonna happen that fast, but they saw the advantages were so like incredible that they couldn't deny it.
Yeah, I'll be real though. Would I prefer doing some stuff in VR for work? Sure, but not like. Even for me, it's like I don't even think I'd like to do that instead of just how I do it right now, working from home.
But think about it from I do think kind of like how Facebook overtook the zeitgeist of the mid 2000s or early 2000s. I think VR in the Oculus space will simulate that in a certain way. It might not be as explosive as Facebook because there is that barrier entry of just it is a different experience. You're putting a thing on your beat.
Like it's not a phone. Like a phone is a side piece to what you're doing.
It was a side piece to what you're doing, but I mean, people get addicted to these
here's
things.
The thing, y'all.
Phones have had that time. I'm recording this on my phone right now. Like my phone is my camera. Like
a phone is everything, but a phone is your sidekick, right? But VR can be everything. I mean, to the point where it could be very sickening. It
but
could be
at
very
the
dangerous.
expense of you have to put your entire focus on. And let's be real,
and
wearing that VR, like if you're in like a 2-hour meeting, wearing that VR headset's not fun.
But and I think that is me and Taylor aren't saying that the Oculus Quest 2 are going to be doing it. Right. I think I think it's going to be more like 5.
I think it has to be glasses. Like if it's not glasses, I don't think people are doing that.
Think if the Quest. Imagine if the Quest was a fifth the weight it was right now, and the strap was. If it was 1/5 the weight, that thing's like 2 pounds now, and it's front loaded on your face.
Yeah, no, if it just sort of went on your face a little bit and it kind of hung off your ears, and it wasn't heavy, and it was just like you slid it on, slid it off.
Y'all seen Iron Man, right?
Yeah, of course.
Like if it was just like you seen his glasses.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if it was like
Yeah.
that, okay. But like besides that, like we're talking like 50, 60-year-old people.
I think
I don't
the
think
only
they're
thing
gonna
they need
be
to
as
do.
willing to adapt to it.
The only thing they need to do is increase the field of view a little bit more. The resolution has to be like as good as when I'm looking at my computer screen. It needs to look like that in VR. Once and this is only like 5 years away. Like
Yeah.
eye tracking, things like that, field of view, resolution. Once they hit that and it's light on your face,
There
then
better
it's
not be eye
exciting
tracking.
time.
I'm going to be watching a lot of porn.
Oh man.
Well, they do. They're doing eye tracking for like gestures. Like if I'm talking to you guys, you
Yeah.
can like see my
Yeah.
eyes move and all that. What was I about to say? Go
Can I
ahead.
say something?
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
ahead.
I think there's an underrated player in the VR market space that's been a sleeping giant.
Is it porn?
Apple.
Xbox.
Nah.
I truly believe there's something cooking there.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense because even Apple is talking about it.
They're all cooking something with
I'm
VR.
like,
with
Microsoft
metaverse.
is in the perfect
Facebook
position,
got
the
in for-
absolute
no.
perfect position to just say, all right, this is our VR headset.
And you know
And it
they,
could be like a Surface VR. You know,
No,
what I'm saying?
no.
Like, I can see that.
Hey, spoilers. Did you guys know that Microsoft already tried to do the metaverse?
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, and
They
it
own all
failed. They tried to do metaverse about a year or two ago.
Well, there's something to being too early to market.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean they're going to
Facebook-
stop, but there's something to be said about being early to market.
Facebook's the winner here.
one
I
thing,
can't- yeah.
yeah, they are the winner for sure for right now. They are the foreseeable winner. No one else is even in the
From a
realm right
sales
now.
standpoint, I'm not going to argue. I'm definitely not saying that PlayStation VR is going to
Well,
outdo Oculus.
I mean,
let that
let's-
be rest assured. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
let's
that.
I just want to quickly pull us back to like what we were talking about is that, ability for the masses to enter into the metaverse.
PlayStation VR is a luxury item. Like
It is.
It is. If you want the best VR experience if you
I don't think that's
wanna
true,
play on
though.
PC,
I don't
then you
think
wanna
it's
play
the
on PC.
it's not the best
that
experience.
medium between that.
It's the best gaming experience.
Not
the
really though. Let me tell you this though. I would argue no, because look, a lot of people think gameplay is when you say what's the best gaming experience, like on a pancake screen, 2D screen. What's the best gameplay experience? I think like the gameplay games come in. Grand Theft Auto, or Rocket League, or like these are my favorites. But
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
like The Witcher, something that the people like the gameplay. So the gameplay of VR is being able to sit in like a big room or your garage. I know a lot of people don't have this, but when I'm in my garage and I'm able to like shoot, duck, roll around the ground and stuff, that is unbelievable. Like, and I would argue, yeah, the graphic fidelity on PlayStation will be the best.
But it's
will the
also
gameplay be the
don't
best?
forget the controller too.
Well, the controller's the
I'm not
same.
The
even-
controller is basically going to be a dual sense.
Yeah, but still, though, I still think the more immersed you can get, the better the gameplay is. Like,
They said the headset's gonna have like rumble in it, where it's like if it's like raining, you're gonna be able to feel the raindrops on your face, and you're gonna be able to feel it on your controller. Like that to me, like when you're doing,
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
room
It's a
scale-
luxury item, y'all.
Yeah.
It's a
Dude,
luxury.
when you're playing,
It's
have you played?
luxury. You don't need it, but you want it.
Have y'all played like a room scale game where you can walk around your room and walk through tunnels and stuff like the room? Like, so there's a game on Quest. There's like a demo game called T for God, and it's like you get like you got to be in a bigger room, so you have to have like a garage or like a bedroom, like at least 10 feet by 10 feet. But what you do is you walk around it physically. Walk around it. You crawl through like ducts, like an air conditioner duct, and you get out of the duct, then you crawl somewhere else, and then you get in an elevator, you ride up, and you walk around the room and you shoot things, and it feels like you've just been traversing and you're living in this world, but really it's using your play space to overlap this level in on itself over and over and over and over. It's like it's insane. Just the movement is so immersive.
But you're gonna get those experiences on PlayStation.
But you're gonna move, and your fat PS5 is gonna rip off the.
I assume that cord is gonna be like 50 feet. Like I assume that cord is
You're
gonna be
still gonna
pretty.
be
All right.
ripping up.
All right. I think
Half-Life Alex.
yeah, I think we're getting to we're getting to a good wrapping point. I think VR is going to be almost synonymous with phones in the future, and that it's going to be used in the office space and the workspace at home, whether that means doctor's appointments, meetings, etc. Doesn't matter. Talking with friends. That's what I think VR is going to. I think you both have some good arguments here, but I think we got to end now because we got to start a show.
Has Ben ready?
I think Ben's ready.
Ben is ready, so we can
All right,
go
let's
ahead.
do it.
But
and
let's
get started.
quickly do our closing arguments. That was mine. That was my like statement. What I think VR is going to be.
I think that I'll make mine. I think the medium is pushed by gameplay. I think gameplay and solid killer app experiences are what's going to capture what VR is going to be going forward. And I don't think we've had that experience. I think we've had like PlayStation 1 level experiences. We're in that sort of generation right now of VR. I think we had some solid experiences, but I think that we are due some heavy hitting experience that I think PlayStation VR 2 will provide, and we'll see what Quest does.
Yeah, I'm with Taylor. I think that the future of VR is social, because I think it's so compelling being in a social experience in VR. It's unbelievable, which you would think would be the total opposite. You think putting on that headset is so isolating, but it's not. It's so social. It's free. That the killer app is something social, like an alt space or some kind of social. Just even going to someone's house in VR, like their virtual house, and hanging out. That's the killer app.
It's frankly horrifying. Let's just admit that.
No,
It's horrifying. But hey, this is actually going to be the last episode of the Dukes of Gaming. This is going to be an experiment. We're going to check back in 10 years. The three of us are going to come back and see where VR is and find out who wins. So join us then on Dukes of Gaming.
We'll put
Bye.
a premiere on it.
Yeah.